Hello, my friends. Today we're going to be talking about Weapons, which is the new film by Zach Cregger. This is his sophomore film compared to his last movie, which was Barbarian, which came out a couple years ago, which I actually really enjoyed. And I also do remember him being a part of the comedy troupe, The Whitest Kids You Know, which had also Trevor Moore, who sadly passed away a couple years ago.
Why, kids? Because I'm gonna grape you in the mouth!
Okay, see, because I think that the reason that I'm a little hesitant is because to me, it sounds like he's saying he's going to rape them.
What? Oh, no. No. What?
And yeah, like I've been following Zach Cregger for a really long time. I grew up with his comedic work, and him transitioning from, a comedic actor to a director, especially a horror director, has been really interesting as of late. He kind of has like the same path as Jordan Peele, who, by the way, also wanted to get this film produced by Monkey Paw, and he lost out the bid for the film. He actually got pretty angry with his interns as Warner Brothers took over the production of Weapons. And now we have this movie, which is basically a hosh-posh of several chapters of these people's lives as 17 kids magically just disappear out of their house at 2:17 a.m. without any explanation or just anything that is completely normal in a sense. And throughout the entire movie, you follow 6 stories and 6 characters as they all are trying to figure out what happened to the kids that disappeared at 2:17 a.m. Some of the characters include a father who is trying to find their son, a teacher who's trying to figure out what happened to the children that left her classroom at that particular time. You also have a drug addict who is trying to make money and get money and finds a way to, figure out where the kids are at. And then you also have the principal who's in the middle of the mix. And you also have the strange auntie character who just appears out of nowhere and tries to also take over the narrative. And you just have like a lot of other characters who are, again, trying to figure out what is going on. And right from the jump, Zach Cregger, his direction is way more expansive and like more creative compared to his last film, Barbarian, where now he's, playing around with more perspectives, more tones with like the comedic tones and like the horror tones and the mystery tones. And also at the same time, he's, making fun of the human nature of weaponizing gluttony and drug addiction and just other stuff that happens in human life as we, try to weaponize our own feelings, our own emotions, how we also try to like find mysteries of other things that we can't really, grasp. And here, again, like I really enjoyed a lot of the stuff that was really boiling throughout this entire film. And a lot of the characters have a lot of backdrops. Julia Garner's character, who is a school teacher, she's going through a lot. She's trying to figure out where her kids are at. And also at the same time, she's dealing with something super deep and very frustrating and kind of like terrifying in her life. And then Josh Brolin's character is the disgruntled father who's also trying to figure out where his son is. And he's very, reluctant of trying to figure out, where his kids are at, but also at the same time, he's trying to like team up with the school teacher before, stuff else happens. And then you have the kid who magically survives all of this and is the only kid who knows or doesn't know what happened to, his friends. And then you have Alden Ehreich, who is the cop who is in the middle of the whole entire thing, and he becomes kind of like attached to a drug addict played by Austin Abrams, who again is trying to make money and try to figure out how to get money. But yeah, like this whole film is just, it's everything like all around. It's a lot of stuff is happening. There's a lot of threads that are open. And honestly, I think if you want, the answer to any of these mysteries as far as like trying to figure out what happened to these kids and why they did it and, how, it doesn't fully explain itself. And I think that's intentional because honestly, I think this film is more about the human condition and the human feelings of weaponizing yourself and weaponizing other people and just the whole idea of like groupthink and just, trying to figure out mysteries of life. And again, like, I think that's more of the broader theme of this film compared to like actually trying to figure out what happened and why these kids disappeared at 2:17 a.m. in the morning. But I think Zach Cregger's direction is like it's fantastic. Like, I think it's one of the best like horror direction that I've seen this year so far, compared to, 28 years later. And I think he has more of a better voice here than his last film, Barbarian. There's a lot of really cool shots, especially the opening where the kids are all Naruto running out of the house at 2:17 a.m. and it's also played with the song from like George Harrison, and it's like a really beautiful montage, and just like other sicko cinematography and like shots, especially near the end of the film, which I won't spoil. But yeah, man, like I can't really go super deep into it because if I go like super deep into it, I will spoil the shit out of it. But I will say this, if you are a general audience member who wants like answers to like every, thing that happens in this film, don't expect that. Expect more of a film that really plays a lot with your emotions and like the overall feeling of like dread and just like nastiness and human nature. But yeah, man, like I really enjoyed this. I think this is easily one of the best films of the year. Top 5. I put this in like my top 3. I give this a 4.5 out of 5. I do also want to like mention like the performances in this film are really, really great. I really like Julia Gardner's performance. As the film progresses, she also hides a lot of stuff that is like boiling in her mind and emotions. Same with like Josh Brolin. Alden Ehrenreich kind of brings like the comedic like tension in the movie, as long also as Austin Abrams, who is the drug addict who's trying to like get money and like actually, save the kids. And then Benedict Wong has a really, tragic, kind of like terrifying end to his life in this film. And yeah, like all of these characters and like performances are really fucking great. I don't have, a lot of things to say about that as far as, going deeper into like the spoiled territory. Amy Magnin, who I haven't seen in quite a while, she gives a really unhinged performance as like the crazy auntie who has something boiling in her mind. But yeah, overall, I think this is fucking great. I give this a 4.5 out of 5. Seek this out, go see it. Support original cinema, support, original horror films. As far as like awards prospects, it's not going to go anywhere. But honestly, if I really have to, pinpoint some stuff, I think the cinematography and some of the acting in the film is really good, especially coming from like Julia Gardner, Josh Brolin, Alden Ehrenreich. Just like the whole entire ensemble cast is really great. But honestly, if I really have to, pinpoint an awards nomination, I think the screenplay is pretty fucking great. There was a lot of cool dialogue, almost kind of like Magnolia meets Pulp Fiction type of like dialogue where characters are like talking, and there's also, really cool, witty, sardonic, comedic dialogue like woven into the overall horrific nature of the film. But yeah, like I really enjoyed this. I give this a 4.5 out of 5. Again, that's all I need to say about this film. Go see it. I will be reviewing other things, and I will be talking more about my plans for, the Toronto Film Festival as it comes closer and closer, but we'll talk about that later. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Take care, and, peace out.